Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Retro Refix. And on this week's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the Atari ST. This Atari I picked up off Lee Thorley from Facebook. He does sell a lot of things on there. Very trusted seller is Lee Thorley. And I tested it out and found that it was faulty. It was sold to me as faulty, to be fair. The disk drive looks non-standard as well. So I would like to be able to get hold of one of those disk drives to change that, just to take it back to originality if possible. So if you've got one of them drives kicking about, hit me up, I'd appreciate it. The Atari ST I know nothing for. My uncle did have one back in the day for a short period of time before he moved on to the Amigas. So I don't really know much about the Ataris. I don't know about the internals, how they work, kernels, etc. and things like that, but we'll get into that into the video. So I'm just going to put that down. Quite heavier than things. So that's what we're going to do on this video. Just before that, I'd like to give a big shout out to Lee Ashmore. Lee does a lot of things with electronics. He's just done a YouTube video as well about power supplies and explaining how they all work, etc. So pop over to Lee's video channel and have a look, give him your support. If you like what he does, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, and hit the notifications for any up and coming videos that Lee does. Lee helped me out with the 1581 disk drive build, which you'll have seen that in the previous videos. So there's Lee. Check him out, he does some good stuff. So let's get on. What is he doing? I'm sorry, we do have a new star for the show. He's called Sid. Yep, straight after the Sid chip on the Commodore 64. He's a Siamese cross Bengal that I've just picked up about 6 weeks ago now. He's an absolute nutter. He's always there in the pictures. There's one there with the Commodore 64. There's one there checking out the 1541 disk drive before I sold it. Every time I'm around with vintage computers, he's about. I put one on the sofa the other day. I'll put a little video up there for you as well, look. And he's sniffing all around it. Yeah, okay, you guys are going to shout, static ball, he's going to blow it. But it were all tested afterwards, just to make sure everything were all alright. But yeah, he's crazy. And I think we should see a bit more of him in the up and coming videos as he gets a little bit more adventurous. So anyway, let's get back to the Atari ST and the bug that killed it. So if you're like me and you enjoy building these things like the 1581 disk drive or anything else, pop along to PCB Way. They do all sorts of things. They do prototype boards, they do board assembly. If you don't want to build the boards yourself, they will assemble all the board for you. They also do flexi boards as well now. They do HDI PCBs. And if you really want to go into CNC machining, they do that as well, and 3D printing. So if there's anything that you're thinking about doing, building wise of electronics, pop along to PCB Way. The prices start from as little as £5 and go all the way up. But yes, PCB Way is the way forward and the best place to go for your PCBs. So I'll strip this down. What we got is, I bought the Atari ST as non-working, and when I switched it on, all I got was the two LEDs on the keyboard that just continuously flashed, and I could hear click, 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 click. So foolishly I went ahead really and thought, you know what, these power supplies in these are well known for going. I just didn't have the time. Too many things on at once, so I decided to, we're going to buy another little complete power supply off eBay. It wasn't expensive, it was only about £15, but I thought we'll stick that in and see what happens. So I put that in and it did exactly the same, so there was no issue at all. So I finally decided that I was going to strip it down and get down to it to have a really good look and see exactly what was wrong with this board. So when I got my multimeter out and I started with continuity testing, so I just thought I'd just test around and see what we can find. So I had the voltage meter on and I found that pin 1 here had some voltage to it, pin 2 had voltage, these next 3 pins, they're all grounds, and then the end ones here is a blue cable which is a 12 volt feed. On that 12 volt feed it was straight to earth. Nothing more, nothing less, straight down to ground on that pin. And that pin should be carrying 12 volts, I believe. So I decided to lift the board out so we could have a better look. These things are in a lot of heat shields. You get a massive heat shield for the top, massive heat shield for the bottom. When I put it all back together, I'll show you all the heat shields. But yeah, so I took it completely out to have a good look at the board, and we flipped it over, and this is what we found on the underside. So here we are under the microscope. As you can see there's a big trace line that looks to me a bit like a ground plane, to be honest, but you can see how it's eating away there. If I fetch you down to the bottom down here, bear with me. As you can see, some of the traces down here have all gone, and this one up here is gone too. As you can see up here, you can see all the traces around this area over here. You can see all of them are all corroded away. There's that one there as well, right in that top corner there, that's gone black. So the more I look around this board. So we found these parts just here, and we've got corrosion on these trace lines, as you can see in the images. There you go, you can see all that eaten traces corroded around there. If we move up slightly and go up towards the RAM, as you can see up near the RAM traces up here, these are all corroded away again, and this goes right up the RAM, all the way up the RAM there. So yeah, this board is pretty much beyond repair. I'll find another place just over here, so try and leave that alone a little bit. Fetch that down the board, look. You can see it's all peppered around that area as well. There's all the little dots everywhere. And it is gone a little bit higher up as well. I don't know whether I can get to show you that or not, but just down the bottom corner there, there's some peppering up there around the traces. They don't look too bad because they're on a ground plane, but there is a lot more that I'm not showing you. It's all over the board. So yeah, let's go down here. So you can see it's all gone down here. This is ground plane, but you can see all the traces that are eaten all around here as well. So yeah, like I say, this board is well beyond a repair. So let's see if we can find that little bug that caused this problem. So this is the bottom shield, as you can see. When you're looking up all this lot, you can see it's corroded, but I'll explain what all this is shortly. Well, I may as well do it now. I'll explain what this is. There is a paper shield on this, over the top of this tin shield. It's all wavy, like it's been wet and soaked. I mean, I don't know whether it's just one bug that's caused it, or I don't know whether it's a load of bugs that's caused it and all the others have vacated out of there now. But there is definitely one bug that's been left behind here. This tin shield, as I showed you earlier, it's got all them lines around it, and I found the culprit. Let's see if I can find it anymore. See if I'm going down to view. If I'm looking at the right line. No, can't be. What I say? There he is, look. So I'm just going to take the micro camera off the stand, and let's go and have a look at this little bleeder. So let's put that on there, solid. I'm just going to try and scope us down now, see if we can find it. So that's the little bug that I think it is. Quite binging really, isn't it? So I would say that is the bug. So you can see on that underside there that little bug has decided to poop and wee all over the place. As I can see in that other little clip, you can see how wavy that board is. You know, the cardboard that was in the bottom. As you can tell that that's been really wet and damp at some point. It doesn't look bad at all. It is just been wavy and damp. And you can clearly see that on the bottom shield as well, which I'll show you that. So all these lines that you can see going around here, these are all the lines from where that tin shield has touched this shield. And obviously the other side has touched the board, and that's where it's been eating it all. That's where his little bug is. And I'll pop a picture up to show you what that is. That's the only one that I found in here. So yeah, that's the bug that killed the Atari ST. So what I decided to do is I just nipped on eBay, and I looked on eBay. There was a guy selling another one of these boards. This one is a Rev C. The board that I've picked up is a Rev F. So it's a Rev F. This has got 2 chips in it for the TOS, which is 1.02. The other board that I've got, which is now in the unit itself, has got 6 EEPROMs down here. So I'm going to change them. I'm going to put 1.4 EEPROMs into the other board. This board is salvaged now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal all the RAM, and I'm going to transplant that into the other board. So we've got a 1 meg ST, and put it onto TOS 1.04. And the rest of the board in here, well, it's just going to be kept for spares, unfortunately. There's not much you can do about it. It's gone. It's dead. It's far too much to be restoring on that board. There's far too many trace lines to be actually bringing it back to life. But there's plenty of stuff on here that I can keep and can be used for the restoration of the other Atari. So that's the board, and that's the bug that killed the Atari ST. So what we're going to do now is the keyboard. And like I said to you before, when I first started it up, there's an LED light just up here that was just continuously on off, and there's an LED light down at the bottom here. These 2 lights were just alternating, click 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 click. I suspected it could have been keyboard or something like that. So when I bought this Atari ST board, I mean, I really wasn't. I didn't know whether the disk drive worked. I didn't know whether the keyboard were working. I bought the Atari ST itself as a non-functioning unit. So it was a bit of a gamble buying a motherboard off eBay and popping it in there to test it out. To be fair, because if the keyboard gone, I'd have had to buy another keyboard, and if the disk drive was packed up, I'd have probably had to have a look for another disk drive. So you can see that we're already cascading into money for the faulty unit, money for the main board, money for a keyboard. But thankfully, everything else worked all okay. So I'm going to cut there for now, and I'm just going to take the keyboard out and take the top shielding off, and then we'll have a look at that when I come back to you. So just before I do that, I was just going to show you, this is the heat shield. There's one on the bottom, there's one on the top. And also the disk drive has that shield across the back there, and we also have another shield that goes over the top of the power supply as well. So you can see that it's well shielded is this unit. So like I said, I'm just going to pop these shields off, and then I'll be back. Right, so that's the heat shields off, and you can see the power supply's gone. This is the ports over here for the extra RAM. It just needs these capacitors populating. I think they're only a 0.1 UF. Ceramic cap, a bit like what Commodore 64 has around the RAM. So we're going to repopulate all these chips in a later video and make it into a 1 meg ST. But here as you can see down here, this is the TOS, the operating system, and we've got it in 6 EEPROMs. So I'm going to take all these EEPROMs out and then I'm going to dump the software off them, so I'll keep the 6 for the 1.02, and we're going to reprogram these chips with 1.04 TOS. Just before I do that, I just want to just plug it all back in and make sure that it's still working before we remove any of these chips. So that's what I'm going to do now, and then we'll pan up and we'll have a look at it running, so you can see that the system actually runs. And we can see she's booting nice and dandy. I've noticed, I don't know whether it's supposed to tell you here or not, but we have Gem Graphics Environment Manager, and it is on TOS. Right, so you've seen me burn chips before. I've already done most of the chips, but what we do is we take the EPROMs off, we took the stickers off, and we put them inside the ultraviolet light eraser, which you will need one of these to erase these EPROMs. So that's been erased now, so if I just go up to there, look, and go device, check, blank check, check it. It's checked, we've got a blank chip. So we're on his last file now, so I'm going to open high 0, because that's the 6th chip at the bottom. So that's opened in there now. We make sure that this check ID is always turned off. Sometimes it automatically switches on, just make sure it goes off. So, programming. So that's finished programming, verified, and programming successful, so we can cancel that now. And all we need to do now is put this chip back in to the ST in its correct place, and then we can switch it on and try it. So you can see there's EPROMs that we've done already. There is 6. I didn't want to bore you showing you them all, so that's the last one going in now. So there we go. We're now booting into TOS 1.04. You can see there you've got the Atari, and you can see the colours scrolling on the Atari symbol. The one previously, if you watch early on in the video, when we first booted it up to test it, that was just black text sort of thing, there's a black symbol across the top. There was no animation to it or anything like that. So I do believe that this is now on 1.04. Cracking stuff. So let's test it out. So that's the Atari all back together. It does need a little bit of a retro bright, but here in the UK the weather's really bad at the moment. Well, really bad. It's not that bad, to be fair, it's just a little bit cloudy and overcast, but the sun's not that hot, etc., which you need for retro brighting. So right, I'm just going to change now and put you up onto the screen, and let's see if this is running a game. And there you go, it looks like we're loading Turbo Lotus Challenge. Let's just turn the sound on. So that looks like that's up and running. Let's see if we can get a game to start. And of course we're playing the good old Turbo Lotus Challenge 2. Right, so auto, push forward, I think. Yep, control on that. We're not doing any links or anything, so let's just go to the game. Takes a little while to load in. We'll have a little game, we won't play too long, we'll just have a quick look at, make sure all the graphics are running okay. So what I've actually done on this system is, you saw earlier on with the corroded board with the bug that killed that ST, we bought this other motherboard and put it in here, got it off eBay. It were only about £35 was the motherboard, so that's absolutely fantastic. And we got the ROMs off Lee Ashmore, which again, thank you very much, Lee. We're now running on TOS 1.4. It does seem to have made a little bit different on boot times and things like that, but I really don't know. I'm quite new to the Atari ST, so it's going to be a big learning curve for me. I'm just hoping that it's not that too big of a one. So what I'm thinking of doing next with it is taking the RAM off that other board. Yeah, okay, I could buy the RAM, but at the end of the day, that RAM on that board, it's there, the board's dead. We may as well have the RAM off it, and anything else that we can keep, I'll just keep hold of the board, and then if I ever need anything else, it's there, and you know. But yeah, so this is the bug that killed the ST video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any comments, if you want to drop us some comments, any hints and tips about these Atari STs and what I'm best doing, am I best upgrading it to just a 1 meg, or am I best trying to get hold of the kit and taking it up to a 4 megabyte? What TOS will be better on a 4 meg? Help us out, guys. Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a GoTech as well to put in it, just because, really. I do like the nostalgia of the floppy disks, but a GoTech, at the end of the day, you're not getting failed loads and things like that on it. This one does take a little bit time sometimes. You start it up and you get a bit of a wavy picture. I don't know whether that's just a video cable because I'm running on the old RF, or whether it needs to have the full RGB connected properly. But when I switch it on, I get fuzzy screens. If I switch it off, switch it back on again, I get a fuzzy screen. If I switch it off and switch on again, it comes on and it's clear. So I'm presuming that's down to capacitors. Again, you guys in the ST world out there, if you know that yes, that's definitely capacitors, let me know, please. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll have a chat about it at the end now. Hi, so this is Sid. Bit of a nut job. He's got his harness on at the moment because we're just letting him get used to it. He's more like a dog-like, so he'll play fetch without being trained. He will be quite loyal. He will tell you when you want things like toys, etc. He'll grab them and bring them to you, which you don't normally get that from normal cats. But at the moment he's just being a bit of a wally because he's got this harness on and he thinks he can't walk, but as soon as there's a feather about, he's running around like an idiot. So what gives? So this is Sid. Welcome to the show. He's not being very miserable at the moment. As you can tell, anybody would think he's a bit limp, but he's alright, he's good. So, Atari ST, she's up and she's running. It took a little bit of a while there to get that going properly. As you saw in the video, all the trace lines were corroded from that bug. The only thing I can think of is it's had a lot of bugs inside there, weeing, etc., or they've been on that cardboard that's in between the motherboard and the heat shield across the bottom. So that's the only thing I can think of, because everywhere that touched around on the board, the traces were all corroded, and that was the only little bug that was left. That little bug. So it wasn't a software bug that killed the Atari ST, it was that kind of bug. So what I needed to do after that, obviously the board was that badly damaged. It would have taken me hours and hours and hours and hours to try and rectify that board. So I ended up buying another board. It was only around about £35 I think it was, plus the postage. I thought, you know what, let's just get a board and throw it in. Thankfully the keyboard was okay, because they are known to go faulty, which causes white screens and things like that. The disk drive was still good, as you saw there. We were playing the Lotus Challenge 2, and of course the power supply was working as well. So thankfully everything's all okay. What I'm missing really is an RGB cable. I could do with really getting one of them, or even just a plug. You know, the plug socket for the back of them, and I'll create my own cable. I also could do with a GoTech to go inside there, and a mouse. I want a mouse to go with it. I know you can buy the adapters for the USBs, but I like the originality of the original equipment. So I do want an original Atari mouse. So if you've got any bits and pieces kicking around, or any pointers, leave it down in the comments and let me know. Let's have a chat about it. As I said before, I'm very new to the Atari ST, very green. So if there's things that I should be checking out, like demos, or best games, or is 1 meg going to be enough? Would it be better upgrading to a 4 meg? So yeah, anything like that, just hit me up, guys. Fill me up with knowledge, because I'm very, very low on knowledge with the old Atari ST. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you have done, please hit the like and subscribe and the notification bell to be notified of the up and coming videos. We've got lots coming up. We have the SX64 rebuild with replica boards, more on that later. I've got a 1582 monitor that's all out of sync on the screen, so I need to be able to get in there and diagnose what's faulty with that. We have got some Atari ST games. The only one I could get to run with Turbo Lotus. All the rest of them that I've got needs 1 meg, so I'm going to need to be doing that upgrade fairly soon rather than later. So once again, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the 8-Bit Retro Refix, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.